Good morning, everybody. I'm Carolina Nogueira, and I'm going to be talking about accessories on the directory period. It was between the, it was in the 1800s. Was 1790 and 8 until 1820. That was a little bit. My previous group partners presented was when was having the French Revolution, was having the Industrial Revolution. So when started all all clothes and accessories, which the term accessory was created on the, it was not existent. They started using on that period of time. Before they used to refer as hand gloves and purses as purses. They did not have the word accessory for that. So starting with the hair, they incorporated the Greek resembled hair, which this in the picture here is from a wealthy woman, since women's and men's with no social status, where they use this haircut, and I have the same, as you can see. I was inspired by them, my haircut. So they were inspired by the Greek sculptures, where they have like the long puff in here, and they have the curls. This was more used with people with prisoners captured at the French Revolution, or with people with no social background. Their haircut, it's named, sorry about this. This haircut, it's called a la victime. It's short on the back and curly on the front, and they did that to avoid lices on the prisoners, because they didn't know when they would be the capture, and that could cause an epidemic. So they were trying to keep them clean to be killed, which is painful inside. As you can see, the bonnet here, they start being wider and bigger, and they still have the detail with the bow tied it, with the ribbon tied, and they started decorated with flowers and blooms. Another thing is, with Napoleon going back to Egypt, the ladies started using turbans. So they found that fashion. Again, wasn't something for everybody. Those were for people with class and some background. People with no class and pretty, they will have plain haircut, clean, nothing. Shoes was on that time of the year as well, and that period of time, that the first industrial pair of shoes was created. Before, they didn't have a left and a right pair of shoes. They had just one form of shoes that will fit left and right. Now they created a pair of shoes for the left, a pair of shoes on the right. Again, the slipper or the flats came back, so they lose the heels, which means that with the French Revolution, the image of heels and ostentation wasn't as seen as wasn't seen for people with status, since the soldiers, they were going to the war with a more clean cut, with less accessories, with less They start losing the makeup, the long hair, the wigs. So they started seeing as more dignified, a more clean and a more simple look. So then they started to use the slippers. Another flats. Then another thing, it was with the revolution and with Napoleon and his exploration, a lot of the Greeks were brought it back. So the sandals, the hair, but again, they took that from sculptures or paintings or drawing that they see. And here's a good example of a garment and some accessories of the period. They had a more loose-fitting gown, resembled the gowns used in a Greek time. And the woman now used not short gloves, the glove is elongated into the elbow, and the jewelry, it's not used in their wrist. They are used more on the elbow. They still have the necklace, and as we can see, they have a decorative crown, resemble the goddess at the Greek era. This is one of the most important part of the accessories at the time. Makeup. Before, makeup was forbidden, and that was because that bring you back to the fact of the revolution, and makeup was seen as a vulgar thing to do. So women and men, they keep using, they had to hide. And the place that they start buying their makeup was on pharmacies. Here we had what we could call a travel pack. As we can see, here you have like a grooming accessories, and here you can see that they have the cosmetic. Cosmetic was used to not as a way to infatuate their appearance, was actually to cover up blemish and scars, which they would use with a type of pomade that at the time was homemade, and once that was industrialized or bought in pharmacy, they start having a lot of chemicals on it, so they could have the white appearance. And what they would put to bring a healthier look, they would put to bring a healthier look was with the rouge that we're gonna come to talk about shortly. As I can see, here was before French Revolution. The men had high heels, a very most like comical image, the wig, the heavy makeup. During the French Revolution, they lose the very up appearance, and they start with a more clean cut. As we can see, the shoes here have some kind of design, decoration. They start losing to a more mainly inspired by the soldiers, inspired by Napoleon. And here is after French Revolution, where they lose total theatrical look, and they come to a clean cut. As we can see, we can still notice some makeup. Probably he was hiding the blemish or scars. The haircut was short, inspired by Napoleon. The men start looking after Napoleon and his appearance. So the hat, the light face, the short hair, and as we can notice, the shoes doesn't have the high heels anymore. Even though Napoleon was one of the first to put heels on shoes since he was short, the men start losing because they want to have a more manly appearance. And like I said before, makeup was considered vulgar, was used only by actors on the theatrical, and women of status, they will send their slaves or servers to go to the pharmacy to get the cosmetic. because if they are seen buying cosmetic, that will cause a bad image on them. And people with not such a high social standard, they start using and making homemade, use homemade recipes to make it, which was a lot involved beeswax, and for blush they will get beeswax, carmacia or beets to get the purple reddish color and apply on the cheeks and the mouth. The mascara or the eyebrows, what they would use again, they will get beeswax, and they would burn the top of their hairpins to get the black color, and they would mix together and apply on them in their faces and their eyes. And here again we can see here was a lipstick with it was considered lipstick and with some form of wax. That we can see already was already industrial. We can see a package. We can see that this is number 14. Gypsy. Ooh, fancy. Here again, makeup, a travel makeup storage, and this was a cabinet of makeup. And as we can see, have all the condiments that again could be homemade. They could mix and match and made a homemade mascara, blush, lipsticks. And here is a better image of the men, the clean cut. They adopted the Levitt, the previous haircut that I showed. Was again brought it back to have the clean masculine cut. They lost the wig, they lost the heavy makeup, the gloves, and no more. They didn't have as much accessory as they had before. The shoes lose the heel, and we can see here it might be one of the first left and right pairs of shoes. And yeah, the very pointed and high heel shoes, it's more like now it's getting rounded, which remind a lot of the pumps or stilettos that women nowadays use it with the very pointed ends. They must have been inspired by these type of shoes. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's attention.